Fucking hell, even Friedman's in a livery.
Shit, mate.
Oh my god.
Friedman's done himself a livery.
Yeah.
No, brilliant. Brilliant, man. Yeah, it's shit, Retro Gamer. We've not dealt with this as a channel. This is 5 years we've been doing this, and we've never felt this as a community. And just see everybody running the black and pink. What number's Friedman?
He's at the bottom.
What number is he?
I don't know.
1, 3.
He's in the Porsche, that's all I know.
Where is he? Will. 208.
Why is that not working?
No worries, Sam.
Good effort.
Okay, even Friedman, black and pink, slicer. Oh, bless you, dude. Sorry to hear that one, man. Yes, mate. Yeah. Yes, mate. It's good. La la la. Hi. Go on, Beth.
Best of luck, Matt.
Cheers, man. Yeah.
Catch you later.
See you later, dude.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Simplay Motorsport. My name is Dan Davis, and I'll be bringing you all the action here live tonight for the fourth round of the season. We are here at Bathurst Mount Panorama for the next round of the GT4 Championship. And I would like to say, obviously, a few words before we get on to tonight. As you'll see, a lot of the drivers tonight have changed their liveries, and we've allowed them to do so because one of our own has sadly passed away. Who Darren, aka Aaron Myers, 1993 to 2025, has sadly passed away, and it's a massive loss that we have suffered here on the channel, but obviously to the people who are very close to him. I know Tips was very close, as was NRL Andy as well, and all those guys from the team Piston pundits and the rest of those guys. I just want to say our thoughts and our love goes to not just those guys, but also to Aaron's family and everyone else as well. And just before going live here tonight, I actually found it very difficult not to have a tear out of my eye, because not just obviously the sad passing of Aaron, but also the community and what we have done. As you can see, a lot of the drivers here have decided to get rid of their liveries, and we've united as one to mark respect to one of our own. Ian McGowan running the black and pink. Obviously, Aaron was known for running the black and pink. Matt running the black on his livery with clouding with the pink, as is Hibs. Silt is running the pink stripe. The MSA boys have decided to get rid of their green and change it to pink as well. So it's nice to see all those guys. Kieran O'Reilly changing his orange to the pink. Stardog going pink as well. And as I said, it's hits the community harder than I actually thought it would be, but also unites us as one. And like I said to Aaron up in heaven, I hope you're enjoying racing in peace, brother. And yeah, to everyone who was close to him, especially his family and friends, we'd like to obviously dedicate this race and the rest of this week's racing here at Bathurst Mount Panorama to those. To him and his family. I hope we do put on a fantastic show for you guys, for them, and let's go racing in memory of Aaron Myers. So, oh god, trying not to get teary again, but yeah, let's see how we get on this evening and go from there. Like I said, our thoughts and prayers are with them at the minute. But we are live here at Bathurst Mount Panorama for the fourth round of the championship, and let's have a quick look at this fantastic circuit that we are at. One of the most difficult circuits in the world, Mount Panorama, based in Australia. Probably the most challenging circuit in the world out there, followed by the Nordschleife, this Le Mans, Monaco, and the Mount Panorama hosting the 12 Hours of Bathurst, and obviously the Bathurst 1000, known for the supercars as well. So it really is a challenge. This circuit really affects the mind rather than the skill. You really got to make sure you're not in the tunnel vision to make sure you get it right here. The circuit length is 3.8, 6.2 kilometers long, in miles 3.8. Number of corners is 23, 14 to the left, 9 to the right. Pole position will start on the left hand side, and the ACC lap record round here is done in a 1:58.7. The Ford Mustang GT3 holds that record, and the most successful driver around here is myself. And yeah, as just the guys are coming to the end of their session, it is getting to the point of the season where drivers will now start to think a little bit more about their championship and a little bit more about what they need to do to make sure they stay ahead in the championship. And they're getting to the midpoint of the season, so we're starting to get where we're starting to find where drivers are at this stage. I am going to try my very best to commentate on who is where. Obviously, livery is going to be very similar, but we will allow it this evening, obviously. Yeah, we'll try our very best to see who is where. After Bathurst Mount Panorama, Obviously on the screen now you do have the calendar. After Bathurst we then head to the home of British Motorsport. We head to Silverstone, where round 6 will be at Kyalami, and then our first night race is at Imola for round 7. Round 8 we head to Germany at the Nürburgring, while round 9 is our second night race at the Red Bull Ring. Round 10 is Autumn Park, and round 11 is Watkins Glen, where we finish things off at the home of Simplay Motorsport at Donington Park. And that is a rundown of your championship calendar. I see Remy Fernie ended up leaving the session, coming back in to change his livery. Again, in marks of respect of Myers. And also, if you do want to be a part of the Patreon, here's a Patreon. £3 a month will reserve your race number. Obviously, the one other thing that me and the rest of, well, I say me, it was Mike's idea. The rest of the team have decided to do is that his number will be now retired. So from now on, Aaron Myers' number will never ever be used. It will be respectfully retired, so nobody can use his race number, which will be once I find it, will be the 93. So rest in peace, Myers, and forever your number will never be used. It will be retired. The 93 is now gone. So yeah. So there's the Patreon system, and like I said, the way things work here tonight, we've got the GT4 Championship is a reverse grid order based on the championship standings. Let's have a look at the championship standings. The championship standings actually look like this. It is Tordock leading the way, 16 points ahead of O'Reilly. Will Friedman sat in P3, while P4 is Silth. P5 is Clouden, P6 is Hooper, while in P7 is Fraser O'Brien. McGowan is in 8th, while Hunt is in 9th. Duffin in 10th with Hibbs in 11th. Unsworth in 12th with Ramsell in 13th. Skunky in 14th with Wright in 15th. Carlos in 16th place position. Walgude in 17th. Then we go to Stardog in 19th, Fernie in 20th, Old Sim Racer in 21st, Johnson at 22nd, while Taylor is in 23rd. 24th is Rook, while 25th is Cummings. Millington is in 26th. 27th is Aberdeen. Leach 28th. Tipping 29th. Smith 30th. Marsden 31st. Vesty 32nd. Jackal 33rd. 34th is Betterson. Archer 35th. Wheel in 36th. Glarball 37th. And that is the championship. And as you can see on the helicopter cam, leading them the way is our admin team, Matthew Duffin and also John Goudet. A lap of respect to our fellow driver, our fellow comrade, and like I said, this is just moving and beautiful scenes here from the channel, and this is why I love sim racing. This is why we do this. It is beautiful to see. We've all come together to celebrate a driver, and like I said, it is a beautiful touch. Obviously not all of us know who he was. We didn't get to meet him or anything like that, but it is an absolute lovely touch to see all these guys going up and down the mountain. Probably one of the longest laps as well, yeah. Thank you to all the drivers, to everyone who's done a lap, who's currently going around at the minute. It is absolutely beautiful sights to see here, and yeah. So let's hit that like button, guys. Come on, let's do it for Aaron and his family. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as we as a community have come together to do this, and I really do think that this is a beautiful scenes that we are seeing right now. So thank you to all the GT4 boys. The Pro-Am boys, I'm pretty sure, will do something similar tomorrow night, as will the pros. But yeah, get used to seeing a lot of black and pink, but absolutely beautiful stuff here. All with their hazards on as well. Absolutely brilliant. And yeah. Mac in the chat, hello everyone, sounds like you guys lost a friend and a fellow competitor. Didn't know him, but Yeah, it's the same. So yes, we didn't know him personally, but he was still a racer. He's still a part of everyone who does sim racing. He's still a part of that community, and he raced here. The '93 Aaron Myers. Who's Aaron? This is for you, buddy. If you're up there watching us, race in peace, buddy. And yeah, a thank you to all the drivers again. This is just, yeah. Oh God, I'm tearing up again. Oh God. Woo! I'll get my composure back. I'll get it back. Right. Okay, sprint race ahead. So the format, the way this works, the way this will work tonight is obviously they'll be doing a reverse grid race for the first race based on the reverse championship order. I forgot about the heart on the YouTube channel. Please, guys, hit that heart button. Let's show the love for our fellow comrade. It's going to be a reverse grid of the championship. So obviously, if you're leading the championship, you'd be towards the back of the pack. New drivers instantly go towards the back of the pack anyway. But I believe Klabel has finally got his wheel fixed, so he is on the grid this evening. So yeah, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at Simplane Motorsport. And yeah, if you do want to be a part of the action here at Simplane Motorsport, then please head over to our sim grid and get yourself signed up and a part of the action. Be involved in the Discord. Even though we, have a bit of sniping at one another, and, sometimes, maybe one GT5 knocks into another GT5 and the other one loses the championship, we all still love each other at the end of the day. And let's see a Sea of Pink. Obviously, remember, you'll be seeing this Sea of Pink again, once again, later on in the year, as we'll be doing our special event later on. And this is for Paul Williams. We'll be going and challenging ourselves around the Nordschleife for the bank holiday weekend as we tackle the horrible disease that is cancer. And all of us as a team will be working our way through the Nordschleife and trying to donate as much money as we can to breast cancer. And that's been led by Paul Williams and us admin team supporting him at the same time. And thanks to Team FBR and obviously Simplane Motorsport for being a part of all that, and obviously all of our fantastic sponsors as well. So make sure you tune in for that one later on in the year. But nonetheless, we will now look at the reverse grid order, which will be now up on your screen momentarily. So the reverse grid order will look like this. It should be Marshall and Archer on the front row, with the second row going away with Vesely and Marsden, followed by Smith and Tipping, and then followed by them should be Aberdeen and Millington, with Cummings and Taylor in that P9 and 10 position. Fernie in P11 with Stardog starting in P12. Goudet in 13th and 14th going away with Carlos. 15th will be Wright and Skunky in 16th, with Ramsel and Unsworth sitting in 17th and 18th place position. Then it's Hibbs followed by Duffin for 19th and 20th. Hunter and then McGowan. Hooper and Clouden, the two Chevys together. Stilth and Friedman running alongside one another. O'Reilly and Tordock are rounding off the grid order here tonight, as you got Grabel and Leach to the back of the pack. And that is your grid order here for Bathurst Mount Panorama. As we get ourselves ready to go here for the sprint race. As we get our drivers ready to go. Hibbs did not make the start, so he'll be starting from pit lane. But it's an Alpine and a Chevy starting on the front row. Benny Archer, he's an actual Aussie himself, and this is his actual choice as a Patreon. He chose Bathurst Mount Panorama, and it's great to see the Australian circuit back here once again, a personal favourite of mine as well. And like I said, it really rewards drivers when you nail it around here. So let's get a poll going on who you think is going to win the first race here tonight. Let's hear from you guys as they get themselves ready for the first race here. Who do we think is going to be the one to beat tonight? That is the question. Who is going to conquer the mountain? Who's going to be king of the hill tonight? That is all going to be on display here tonight. As I've just gone for the top four, if you think it's somebody else, then feel free to put in on who you think is the prediction on winning this one. As they are now coming into the final corner. We're about to get underway here for the first time tonight at Bathurst Mount Panorama. It's warm, it's hot conditions. It is an Alpine versus a Chevy on the front row. We're about to go green for the first time tonight. And we are green and go at Bathurst Mount Panorama as we head down towards turn number one, as they all funnel their way down into that tight turn one section, as they all try and maneuver their way through there. A few cars not get going at the start there, but they all managed to survive turn number one relatively well. Duffin in the middle of a bit of a scrap here, but he's had to back out that one, and the Chevy bouncing all over the grass, but he's managing to maneuver his way through. But it is the Chevy of Archer. It is an Australian leading the way ahead of oh, and there goes Marshall. He's gone round. They're all over the shot now. I think Duffin's been involved in that as well. Where is he? No, he's not. It's Ramsell's been in contact. Hooper's been in contact, as has Taylor as well. But major damage to a lot of cars already. Marston as well been involved in this incident, but as they all get themselves going, it is Archer leading the way in the Chevy ahead of Marshall, with tipping in that P4 position as they now update, sorry, P3 position. Oh, and that is Millington into the wall hard as they go up and over the crest now. Skonky's had a very good start here as he's onto the back of a fellow Mercedes driver. That is Stardog, I believe he's behind, as they work themselves down the hill now. Very tight through this section, and oh, that is right. He's had a moment to clip the wall and he's dropped to the back of that pack. And there's cars everywhere. Friedman going a little bit deep as Clouden now goes through, as does Cummins. I think he goes up the inside. But we go back to the front. It is Archer pulling away in front ahead of Marshall, tipping. Then it is Vesely and Millington, but that BMW is very strong in a straight line, should outdo the Aston Martin. Meanwhile, further back, Carlos is on the move. Millington gets onto the grass. Is he going to get it stopped? Yes, he is, and the BMW driver loses out there and goes wide. Around the outside comes Carlos, as does, I believe, the Aberdeen goes around the outside also, so he gets the job done. Skunky also on the move down the inside. The Mercedes looking mighty here, as John Goudet trying to work his way through the order. Archer, though, with a 4.3 second gap already, is extending that gap as much as he... Oh, and the BMW touches the grass, and he goes off and wide into the gravel he goes. But Archer with the clean air and no one to bother him at this stage. He is out in front. Marshall and Tipping, meanwhile, are side by side and going at it for the lead of this race. And into the second corner they go, tipping up the inside, gets the job done. Millington now in fourth, as we got Smith and Carlos and a whole bunch of cars breathing down their neck as they go up towards the top of the hill. And again, they're all managing to negotiate their way of a couple of cars in the pit at this stage. And Duffin in the middle of all this. Last time out we were at Bathurst, he nearly had a clean sweep, but he was very strong in practice. He looked confident. Meanwhile, Tipping pulling away from Marshall here, so the Alpine just struggling, but it is Millington who is the mobile chicane at this stage, with Carlos now up the inside of Smith there, and he's going to try and do it around the outside of the S's. He ain't going to get the job done there, and he has to take the escape route, but he will need to give that position back. He did gain an advantage by going off circuit, but Carlos at this stage choosing not to give the place back. Obviously it's quite tricky to do so down this downhill section. But Smith, meanwhile, is still under pressure. He's under pressure from Aberdeen. Meanwhile, Goudet in the other Chevy is on the back of Skunky, and Skunky is trying to go with Carlos. And Hunt's returned back to the pit, so he's obviously had some form of coming together somewhere. We've got McGowan onto the back of Jamal Clouden, so McGowan's dropped down the order quite a bit there by the looks of things. But Millington now onto the back of Marshall. What other fights have we got going on? Further back we got Tordock and Hooper, who have got significant damage. Friedman's at the back of him as well, so Friedman carrying a bit of damage. Hunt's returned back to the pits. There is Taylor carrying damage. Fernie's returned to the pits, and Cummins has got major damage as well. Wright has come back out. And there is Marston, and they head over the crest down towards turn number 1 they go. The pit window has opened, so Cummins happily gets that pit window open. Meanwhile, Duffin says fastest lap of the race, but it's Archer leading the way. And here comes Millington now on the attack of Marshall. He's going to go down the inside of turn number 1, and Carlos also looking to possibly go up the inside, but not quite close enough this time round. He's looking left, he's looking right, he's not quite far enough up the inside of the Alpine, and Marshall just hangs in there a little bit longer. Over the top of the mountain we go. Duffin, meanwhile, absolutely flying. He's already cleared Stardog. Oh, and I think Goudet's just rubbed the wall there. And Chris in the chat says, love Bathurst, come on Matt, and we're on board with him, Matt. And he is working his way through the order. He's done Stardog, he's now onto the back of Skunky, but he's got O'Reilly and Goudet in front of him, all being held up by Smith, as Carlos has now cleared Marshall, and he's now onto the back of Millington. While this is all going on, Archer is pulling away. Oh, Marshall with big damage there, hitting the wall quite hard. He's got quite a hefty whack to the front of that Alpine. And there you see them splitting the Alpine, the Aston and the Chevy going either way. And that Alpine's just getting mugged. Here comes the McLaren, even mightier in the straight line, in the slipstream of Goudet as they head towards the kink, and they all manage to get through there, but Skunky's ended up on the grass. He's manages to hook it up, and around the outside goes Duffin, and he gets the job done, but there's Smith, and Matt now goes wide. With this all happening, Matt is going to have to either choose to pit or carry on, and he's choosing to pit. O'Reilly's in. And Skunky's gone deep. Skunky's gone very deep, and he's ended up in the wall. As now John Goudet says fastest lap of the race there. So as you can see there, Archer leading the way ahead of Tipping, ahead of Millington, and ahead of Carlos. Hibbs now says fastest lap of the race. Goudet in that P5 position with Marshall in P6. The Janetta of, I think that's Aberdeen, pulling over Smith. Then O'Reilly, Stardog. Skunky has managed to get himself going again. Aberdeen's pulled over to the side as Clarabel comes up the hill, ahead of Hibbs, ahead of Stilth. And then we've got Friedman and Tordock. As McGowan, the first one to pit, he is ahead of Marston, who's got possibly damage to his car. Taylor's back out on track as well. But that is your running order at this minute. But Carlos looking to make a move on Millington. He's going to try and go around the outside, going up the hill. And that'd be brave to do it there. Ain't going to happen there. And while this is all happening, this is just allowing Archer to pull away and lead this race at his home circuit. And Goudet trying to count down the corners and hunt down these two. And Skunky there just ahead of Clavel. And then you got this guy got a car, Smith and Marshall, Hibbs, Silth, all going over the crest of the hill. Oh, Marshall's gone off again. And that's allowed Hibbs to Silth through, but Silth's hit the wall. Big damage to the front of Janetta. He's trying to get it going again, but it's going to be tricky to get round. But Archer, meanwhile, way out in front. Comfortable gap ahead of Tipping. Now Millington and Carlos are going side by side. Who's got the biggest kahunas? Millington's going to try and hold it strong on the outside. He does, and he tries to break later than Carlos, but Carlos can't find a way through. And Millington holds on to the position. Archer choosing to carry on through as Millington comes in and Carlos finally gets the free air that he wants. Goudet has gone in with him and Stardog continues on through. Skunky's in, as is Clavel. Meanwhile, where did Duffin finish and all that? Duffin is now right behind O'Reilly. So this is a close fight between these two. And right now, Duffin looking for any opportunity to try and get past that McLaren. McLaren, though, mighty in a straight line. And I think Duffin is going to struggle to out-drag that McLaren. Just behind them, though, is Jamal Clouden. So he has gone with these two. And we'll see where these guys all fan out by the end of the pit stops. Meanwhile, Friedman is still ahead of Tordok. And Carlos is now going to try and chase Tipping down as quickly as he possibly can. The rest of these gaps are all spread out as Duffin is now right underneath the back of O'Reilly. And O'Reilly looking like he's had a little moment there. Duffin looking to the inside of turn number one. He goes up the inside. They're going to come out with Millington. And Millington... Oh, they're three abreast. Millington, Duffin and O'Reilly, but O'Reilly should have the advantage. The McLaren much faster straight up, but he's yielded, I think. O'Reilly back into the slipstream. He looks up the inside of turn number two, and Millington losing out there, and O'Reilly thinking about it constantly about going up the inside, but can't do anything about it. That Mercedes-Benz very mighty around here, especially with no kilos on board, really allows Matthew Duffin to attack the corners. So Millington was fighting Carlos, and that is what has happened there. So Duffin possibly into a podium position here. Meanwhile, Archer still leads the way, but we see here Carlos has already cleared Tipping. And Carlos has now cleared Tipping. Lexi in the chat, Marshall, saying that went expected for me. So she's struggling with this circuit here tonight. And Tipping now chooses to pit. So Archer also into the pit as well. So Carlos now using the clean air to his advantage. He will have to go one more lap, and next lap he will have to pit. But it is Duffin who is leading the pitters at the minute. And O'Reilly's just dropped off the back of him. Millington's not too far behind them. But Duffin, a great jump in the pits. As they head down the chase. Archer, though, is in the pits. Needs to make sure he gets his stop done. Of all the places, then he wants to make sure that he nails the pit stop. It is here at his home race. Oh, Millington's gone wide, and Clouden will gain that position. Duffin now into the final corner. Has Archer got going? Not yet. So Archer has now gone green. Now it depends how far down the straight he is. I think Duffin's got him. They're going into turn number one. Yeah, they have. So Duffin and O'Reilly now lead this race. So what a pit stop from those two. They are now leading this race as Archer has lost out massively in that. And Tipping has stopped, but has not done his drive. He has not done his mandatory stop. Meanwhile, Will Friedman gets a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So is Carlos now in the prime seat now. He's had that clean air. Yeah, Lexi, it was a good go. It's probably one of the more difficult circuits, though, so you'll be okay. The first one's done and out of the way now, but we'll move on to the next race. But heading down the straight comes Carlos. And towards the chicane he goes. Duffin, meanwhile, has pulled away from O'Reilly. There's a queue behind Archer. Best of the Chevys. There's a Chevy brawl. You got Archer, Clouden and Goudet all going at it. And they're all just flirting with that curb at the minute. But Jamal Clouden trying to find an opportunity to get past the Chevy. Nowhere through there at the minute. Carlos now pits as they head down the back straight called the chase, and Goudet is going to be chasing as much as he possibly can. Up towards the last part of the chase. Is Archer just going to get his brakes done on time? Yes, he is. He goes deep, though. Goes wide, and he slides and ends up in front of Clouden and Goudet. They both gain their position, but they'll lose out overall. Is Jamal... No, I thought for a minute Jamal was coming into the pits. Archer, though, was leading this race quite comfortably for a while. Duffin, meanwhile, coming up towards turn number 1 as Carlos has now been released. So Duffin going for a race win here. But he's got to chase Carlos down. Hibbs has gone green, and where is he coming out of the pits?
The window is closing down.
I haven't seen him yet. That's up the main straight. There you go. There we see Millington and Stardog going side by side. And Stardog's going to get it up the inside, get the job done and turn in. And Millington loses out. Skunky, meanwhile, dropping back. And up towards the hill they go. Carlos, meanwhile, under some pressure from the Mercedes-Benz of Duffin. And a good evening in the chat. Chris Rook in the chat. Evening all. Sorry to hear about the loss of Aaron. Yep, it is a massive shame, but nonetheless, we are racing in his memory, in his honour. And at the minute, we've had a dramatic race so far at Bathurst Mount Panorama. O'Reilly's just dropped off the back of Duffin, has no pace for him. As we see there, Goudet just struggling as Stardog gets onto the back of him. Oh, Millington's at a moment. He's trying to get out of the way as best he possibly can and manages to do so. As they all head down the hill, and already fatigue is probably starting to kick in. Only a 20-minute race, but this mountain really does get in your head. And Hibbs there under pressure from Hooper, who's right on the rear wing, but has got severe damage to the front end of the car. And I don't think there's a car without a clean bumper or a clean bonnet. As we see now, Duffin is onto the back of Carlos. Into the final corner they go. Oh, Duffin has a slide there. But the longer and longer he gets held up here, the more and more O'Reilly can come back into the frame. So that's your battle for the lead. Goudet has pulled away from Clouden has pulled away from Goudet, and Stardog is in P6 trying to find a way through. We still got Hooper still trying to find a way past Hibbs. Hibbs doing a good job keeping him behind. Friedman is now in to do his stop and go, as Tordok really seems to be struggling here at Bathurst, and currently in 12th place position, with Skunky with more damage to the front of his car, with Vesely sat in P14. That is Millington, no sorry, Ramsel. I think that is Ramsel in between them, who's a couple of laps down. Archer in 15th, Tipping is in 17th, and he's being chased by McGowan. McGowan's got fastest lap of the race with Smith, Taylor, Silth Wright, Cummings, Ramsell, Hunt, Fernie, and Marshall at the back of the pack. Who else is in the pits? Oh, there is Marshall at the back. I don't know who has left the session. Somebody has left the session. Will we go back to your top two? Not much has changed here. Duffin, if anything's lost a little bit of time here, as Friedman has now cleared his stop and go. And Goudet still under some pressure from the Mercedes-Benz of Stardog. The Mercedes-Benz definitely looking the strongest car in the GT4 class. As Duffin is literally pushing Carlos as they head towards the kink. Duffin pressing the brakes there to make sure he gets the car stable and stopped. He's going to go around the outside of Carlos and he gets the job done. Matthew Duffin now leads the sprint race after starting mid-pack. He is now leading this race, and Duffin has still not yet to win a race in the GT4s. He took a bit of curb there, which will unsettle him ever so slightly, but he now starts the final lap of this race, and he's bringing O'Reilly with him. Meanwhile, Stardog still trying to find a way around Goudet, but he can't seem to find it going up towards turn number 1. And Hooper just dropped off the back of Hibbs there and lost a little bit of momentum there. Tordock is onto the back of Millington. Oh, let me see here. Skunky trying to stay out of the way. He's got more damage to the car, and Aberdeen has gone through, as has McGowan, and I think Hunt as well. Hunter lapped down, sorry. But McGowan there, trying to clear the traffic as best he can. But Duffin, at the minute, still leading this race. As long as he doesn't hit any walls or cause any damage, he should be able to keep that under control. No real close fights at the minute. It is this fight of McGowan and Aberdeen. But Hunt's in the middle of that. And I think Stardog has not been able to attack Goudet, but we go back to Carlos, and he's got right back on the rear wing of Duffin, but I think it's going to become too little use because they come down towards the Forest elbow. They get a good exit. Duffin has already pulled away as they hit the main straight. But down towards the chase they come. Duffin, starting mid-pack, has worked his way forwards and using that Mercedes grunt and power is very dominant here at Bathurst. And Matthew Duffin, for the first race tonight, for the sprint race, is going to come into the final corner. He hasn't won in a very long time. Matthew Duffin wins at Bathurst. Congratulations to Carlos in second. Third goes the way of O'Reilly. Fourth is going to go the way of Jamal Clouden. Fifth is going to go the way of Stardog. He gets Goudet at the end there in P6. Hibbs in P7. Hooper in P8. As Clarble is going to come home for that 9th place position. While Millington is going to round off the top 10. Just behind him is his teammate Ramsell. So Millington rounds off the top 10. Vesely is going to finish at 11th ahead of Tordok. Well, Tordok's had some damage, so Tordok may drop back even further. But Vesely finishing in that 11th place position. Archer is going to finish 12th then. So he finishes in 12th place position. And I think McGowan is then going to get that 13th place position. And I don't think Tordok can turn, so Tordok's going to lose another place to Aberdeen this time. And Aberdeen will take 14th ahead of Tordok. Tipping is going to finish in 16th, while Skunky is going to finish in that 17th place position. No, he's not, because Friedman's got him. Friedman into 17th. 18th is Skunky. 19th is going to be Smith. Across the line he goes. Taylor in 20th. 21st will be Silth. Cummings is 22nd. Ramsell 23rd. Wright 24th. Hunt is going to finish 25th. And Fernie 26th. Marshall in the end finished 27th. And Marston in the end 28th position. That was your sprint race, and it was Duffin who was your race winner, ahead of Carlos, ahead of O'Reilly. We'll be back in a few moments' time as we will have the final qualifying session of the night, which will only be 5 minutes, and then the feature race straight after that. We'll see you in a few moments' time. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Simplay Motorsport as we get ourselves underway to the qualifying session, and Matthew Duffin has got himself out on track straight away. And up the hill they go. Qualifying session is now underway. And after that, this is what the championship standings now looks like. O'Reilly managing to survive that way through the hill has managed to put him top of the tables. He leads the way with 13 points ahead of Tordok. Third in the championship is now Jamal Clouden, while fourth is Friedman. Fifth is Stilt, and in sixth is Hupert. I don't know why I have to think that Hupert is in sixth place position. Duffin after that has got himself into the top 10, and he's now in seventh place with Carlos in eighth. Ninth is Hibbs, 10th is McGowan, while 11th is O'Brien. Goudet is in 12th, while Hunter's in 13th. Stardog is in 14th with Ramsell in 15th. 16th is Skunky with Onsworth 17th. 18th Wright with 19th Millington. 20th is Taylor. 21st is Aberdeen with Fernie in 22nd. 24th is Old Sim Racer, well 25th is Cummings, 26th is Tipping with Johnson 27th, 28th is Vesely with Rook in 29th, Smith in 30th, 31st is Leach, Marston 32nd, Archer 33rd, Grabel in 34th, while Jackal 35th, Besson 36th, and 37th is Wheel, and Marshall in 39th position will go on board with Duffin. Regarding the teams championships, it is MSA leading the way ahead of Unknown Racing, Greasy Bandits Racing, Old School Racers, Quantum Motorsport, Cam Racing, Simplay Racing, Piston Pumpers, Team Tom, Blunt Force Racing, Piston Pounders, Roadrunner Motorsports, Audio Sport, RB GT Team, Old Git Racing, and Star Wolf Racing with Lex Industries at the back. Matthew Duffin now attacks turn number 1 as he heads up to the climb of the long straight of the second straight, heading up towards turn number 2. Over the crest we go. It's a long straight for a slow car. This seems like an eternity as you head up towards the 50-meter board. Just at that point we brake and go down 2 gears, get on the power as soon as you can through turn 2, push the limits as far as you dare and get as close as the wall as you dare into then the tricky section, into a double apex left-hander, get the front end tucked in, get on the power as soon as you possibly can to get the climb up the hill as fast as you can. Confidence now, you need to be brave, turn in, get as close to the wall as you dare, into the right-hander, into the left, keep your foot pinned to the ground as you towards maybe lifting a bit as you head into the left-hander. Again, get as daring to the wall as you can, into the crest, over towards Skyline, and then heading down towards the dipper. Brake as straight as you can, get the car dropping down the gears, barely want to touch the throttle here, just let the car roll down into the dip, get the front turned in to then tweak it into the right hander, swoop into the left and then swing it over to the right into the horrible forest arrow, braking down, get the front to turn in, get on the power, get a good exit as you then work your way all the way down towards the chase. With a good exit out of Forest Elbow, you should be able to get a lovely slipstream if one of the cars behind, I believe that is Silt, it is in the slipstream of Duffin. But you get a good run through the chase, head down towards the kink. Swoop it in over to the right, stay as far right as you can and brake just before the 100-meter board, get it dropped down to second gear. Try not to clobber the curve too much on the inside, get a good exit through the right-hander and then head down towards the final corner. You've negotiated the mountain, you've done it all, and you can still get it wrong right here and brake just past the board and get the front to turn in, get a good exit, and that should give you a lap time of a 2-minute 12.5. 6/10 off the pace is Silth. He crosses the line. Tordok now comes towards the line. He's 2 seconds off the pace as McGowan goes within 0.05 of a second. Who is that just behind him? That looks like Skunky. We got Fernie now coming to the line. No lap time from him. Smith now sets a lap time. Archer goes up into P6 with O'Reilly. Only P5. Skunky did set a lap time. It was P4. Vestley comes across the line. P9. These guys need to get a lap time on the board. Clarball crosses the line. That is P12 for him. And that was also Goudet. So the rest of these cars crossing the line now. That is it for their qualifying. Clouden won't be able to get another lap in. He goes P4, but it's a decent lap in nonetheless. And Hunt goes 12th. So these guys are done for qualifying. Hibbs is now done. He crosses that position 6. Friedman goes into 9th place position. Who's next to come to the line? We got Fernie, who still hasn't set a lap time. We got Ramsell coming into the final section. Millington's on a lap as well. We'll keep an eye on Ramsell. Where is Ramsell? There he is. Out the final corner he comes. And Ramsell goes 13th. Next to come to the line is Stardog, but he's messed it up and he's gone off. Next car to the line is Millington. And then we go back to your fastest drivers, and at the minute it is Duffin who's on provisional pole. Can anybody take that away from him as Millington comes into the final sector? Get the front turn in, get a good exit. Jackal has now joined the server. Struggles to make the first race, but he's always able to make the second, which is nice to see. But Jackal only goes 15th for that lap time, but Millington, where does this put him? He goes 15th, and we now go back to The man who's at the front, who's leading at the minute, he's on provisional pole. Duffin comes towards the final corner here. Can he take pole position? Can he extend the gap? He's probably gone a little bit too deep in the final corner. Towards the line he goes. Does he extend the gap? He finds another 10. McGowan, though, trying to hunt him down. Silth only gets within 600, and McGowan will not improve. Skunky, though, looks like he is on a lap. To the line he comes. Tordok does not improve. Skunky does improve, but only goes 9/10. Goude's made a mistake. He's off. Cummings is off as well. Any other lap times coming to the line? We've got Fernie coming to the line. He only goes 21st, but it is a lap time on the board nonetheless. Cummings in the final corner as Clark will go to the 11th. Where does Cummings go? It only 9th for him in the end. But it is Matthew Duffin taking pole position here at Bathurst Mount Panorama for a man who absolutely detests this circuit. He's on pole position here. But he's got the very fast McGowan, Silth and Skunky all behind him. Cloud in there as well. All the Mercedes-Benz looking very strong. I think pretty much every Mercedes-Benz bar Stardog is up in the top. Yeah, the top 6 at the minute. So Mercedes-Benz very, very strong here. So reminder, guys, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at Simplay Motorsport. And if you do want to be a part of the action, then head over to our sim grid and get yourself signed up. Let's say get yourself signed up if you want to be a part of the action and interacting with us in the Discord as well. That's it. Make sure you be a part of the action. Hit that bell to be notified so you do not miss any of the action here tonight as we get ourselves underway for the 4th feature race of the season. And it is now going to be a long night's worth of racing for these guys. 45-minute feature race. 15 minutes shorter than the GT3s. And let's have a look as well at our fantastic sponsors. Have a look at Design Manchester and Audio Sport. Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, clothing and much more, including Simplay merchandise. Audio Sport, manufacturers of VW Transporter T4 audio solutions and styling products. Head over to www.audiosport.co.uk and their Facebook link in the link below. Also, our description also shows our Facebook page, our Facebook group, Instagram, Discord, and also our Twitter as well. So get involved in all of them. Drivers now pulling away as we are about to get underway here for the second time tonight. It is Mercedes versus Mercedes on the front row. McGowan versus Duffin. But really, it's the mountain versus the rest of them. Let's get a poll going on who you think is going to win this one. If you are a part of the Discord and you do want to help the channel out as much as we possibly can, then feel free to be a Patreon. £3 a month will allow you access to Patreon services that other drivers will not get. Like reserve your race number, have your stream automatically broadcasted in the Discord. Like I said, do all those wonderful things to be a part of the channel. And let's not forget as well, coming up on the bank holiday weekend in May, it's our charity event. 24 hours of the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife, as we support FBR and mainly Paul Williams in their fight against cancer. Together we will stop this horrible disease, and us as driver will challenge ourselves around the green hell and try our very best to put on a great show there. So make sure you get involved in that one. And just as the drivers are now coming around to the top end of the track, we'll have a look at the calendar one more time before we go racing. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, my Streamlabs decides to break itself when I'm trying to do all the important things. So we are back live once again. Again, like I said, apologies for that one, as we are about to go underway for the fourth feature race of the season. It is two Mercedes on the front row as you head into the final corner now, just in time indeed, Peaceful, as we are about to get back underway racing here live at Bathurst Mount Panorama. Duffin versus McGowan, who's going to come out on top as we wait now for the green here at Bathurst.
Green light, go, go, go.
We are green and go as Ramsel and Hunt are both going to get a drive through for out position, and already McGowan's been jumped by Sylph as they head up towards turn number 1, and Duffin's going to pull away as they all work their way through turn number 1. Looking relatively clean so far from everyone else as they head up the hill towards turn number 2. But it is Duffin leading the way at the minute as they come over the crest. But he's got the entire pack breathing down behind him as McGowan has now passed Sylph. And you can see that the Ginetta just struggling in a straight line there as they head up towards the tight, twisty section of the top part of the mountain. Orders a little bit jumbled up as drivers here, there and everywhere. Meanwhile, Carlos, not the best qualifying session, but he ended up starting at the back. But McGowan, can he hunt down Duffin? That is the question. As they head up to the top of Skyline, meanwhile, they're all stuck behind Hibbs at the minute, who's just a little bit of a mobile chicane ahead of O'Reilly. Then we've got Goudet, Friedman. We've also got Tordok there as well. Clarble just off the back of these group as well, as everyone else has managed to negotiate the top of the hill with no real dramas either. So we have survived Bathurst first lap here as Duffin leads them down into Forest Elbow. Jamal Cloudeno onto the rear wing of Skunky. Can he do anything about him at this stage in the tow? Still flashing lights in his Ginetta, only just sticking with the Mercedes-Benz as I think he tops out down the straight there. Oh, Skunky's gone deep, and that's going to allow Jamal Clouden around the outside, and up a position he goes. Meanwhile, O'Reilly has cleared Hibbs, I think. Yes, he hasn't. So Hibbs is actually tucking Skunky. So Skunky going around the outside. Hibbs is going to try and go alongside, but he makes a mistake, and that's going to give the chance to O'Reilly. O'Reilly's going to come up the inside and head down towards turn number 1. And will he get the job done? Yes, he will. Will he get a better exit than Hibbs? Yes, he will. Slight contact there from the two of them. As you see in the back ball, Clarble goes a little bit wide as they head up towards turn number 2. Sylph, meanwhile, not giving up on McGowan. He's got a little bit of pace in the corners, and we should see how quick he is through this section. That little Ginetta doing his very best to stick with him. And the drive-throughs are now starting to be cleared, as meanwhile Hibbs still trying to pressurise O'Reilly as best he possibly can. Clarble, meanwhile, has lost out to Cummins, and Cummins is now leading this group of cars. We've got the Jackal under some pressure from Archer and Vesely as well. So Vesely going to try and look to the outside of Archer, coming into the left-hander. No, he can't, and Carlos is onto the back of him as well. Back to the front, meanwhile, Sylph just flowing with the wall there. And if anything, McGowan has brought the gap down to Duffin. And Jamal Clouden takes a lot of curb there. He's ahead of Skunky at the minute, but Skunky trying to hunt him down. Meanwhile, we've got Goudet, Friedman and Tordok all going at it. And Friedman's going to try and go up the inside, but he's not close enough as he goes wide. And that's going to give Tordok a look around the outside, but it's going to be quite difficult doing a dip, and they've managed to go side by side. Brilliant driving from these two as they head now towards Forest Elbow. How they've not made contact together, I do not know. And Friedman is up a position. So Will Friedman holding on to that position ahead of Tordok, not up in position, sorry, he's just managing to stay ahead of Tordok, but Tordok is in the slipstream. You see Friedman just trying to break the toe by the looks of things, but can't seem to do so at the minute. And Tordok going up the inside towards the kink into the left-hander. They go, and Tordok still there. Friedman takes the tyre line, gives him the respect, and loses out. Cummings is now onto the back of him as well. So Cummings looking to the outside, and after Friedman lost out to one place, he's now under pressure for another. And Cummings gets close to him, but Friedman manages to hold on to the position. What else is happening further back? Everyone else has managed to keep going. Oh, Marshall's got a little bit of damage to the front end of a car, but they have managed to keep things facing the right way. But it's Duffin leading the way still ahead of McGowan, who's got fastest lap of the race, ahead of Silth, ahead of Clouden. Now Skunky's back onto the rear wing of Clouden. O'Reilly still got Hibbs giving him some hard time. And then we had that Porsche fight of Tordok and Friedman. I'm pretty sure Friedman will want to come back at him. The Alpine of Cummings just behind this, up with Clarball as well, with Millington just behind them. It's like Carlos looking up the inside of the BMW. You ain't going to out-drag that car, mate. At the minute though, Clouden and Skunky just outside the top three at the minute, not really able to hunt them down at this stage. Just at this moment, just struggling for pace overall as they head down towards the dip once again. And once again, Silth gets close to the back of McGowan, but can't seem to do anything about him at the minute. Over the crest comes Goudet ahead of Tordok, ahead of Friedman. Meanwhile, Hooper, I forgot to mention, is down in the pack. He's got Aberdeen ahead of him. So Hooper's struggling at this stage, with Taylor in 22nd ahead of Stardog. Oh, and Marston's in the wall. He's got to wait for every car to come through and manages to do so. Here comes Fernie. Oh, and contact is made. Marshall's back to the pits. Into the final few corners we go. What is your closest fire at the minute? Is this fire at the minute, as Clarball and Millington are going at it side by side, and Millington's under pressure from right now. Right looking to go around the outside of the final corner, and is he going to get that job done? Oh, it's close, but he manages to do so and stay ahead of the Aston Martin driver. That's given him a big gap to try and hunt down on Clarball. As that poor little Alpine just trying to stick with the much quicker cars. Still though, Silth in that Ginetta seems to have some decent pace and is trying to get onto the back of that Mercedes-Benz. Does it beautifully in the corners here, turns in lovely and has great grip. But other than that, the straight line lets him down. Over the crest they go, and meanwhile Skunky still putting Clouden under pressure. Clouden running a little bit wide there. That's going to put him off for his line, and he flirts with that wall big time there. Hibbs again giving O'Reilly a bit of a hard time. O'Reilly and that McLaren seems to be struggling quite a bit here. Meanwhile, Goudet still has the pressure of the two mighty Porsches of Tordok and Friedman, and Tordok's going to have a look up the inside, and Goudet lets him go, thinking, I can't hold him back any longer. So through you go, and the Porsche driver goes ahead. Friedman's go now to have a go at the back of the Chevy Camaro. This is on board with Friedman. And at this minute, you hear him short shifting there. Meanwhile, Jackal is also onto the back of Millington, which is a little bit of a train going on here, because Carlos is there, Vesely was there. Bernie's into the pits, but as you can see here, Carlos in the slipstream of the Camaro. Can that McLaren out drag the Aston Martin? Here comes Jackal. He's in the slipstream, but he's not quite close enough at this stage. Meanwhile, Duffin, has lost a little bit of pace here because McGowan and Silth have got a little bit closer. Silth, I think, needs to stick with these cars and try and benefit from the slipstream as much as he possibly can. Meanwhile, Jamal Clouden still got Skunky giving him a hard time, and Hibbs still giving O'Reilly a hard time. Friedman has now passed Goudet, so it's now Cummings' attempt to now try and get past the Chevy Camaro. Meanwhile, Fernie returns back onto the track and splits some of the pack. And once again, Archer trying to get onto the back of the Chevy Camaro, but here comes that BMW, mighty in a straight line, the Beamer. Look at it go in the slipstream as well of Archer. Is Vesely going to try and go all the way around the outside in turn 2? He gets the job done, but he goes a little bit wide, so Carlos is still going to be on the outside of the next corner though. And try and go around the outside he goes, and Carlos with just more confidence able to keep the position. Again, Skunky gets close to Clouden but not close enough. Hibbs again closer once again. And Lexi opting to retire her car. Obviously struggling with Bathurst. Hopefully you come back for Silverstone a lot fresher and ready to go. Well, I think there, that's obviously Fernie in between these two. So right now onto the back of Klarbel. And in the tow they go. The little Alpine versus the little Janetta. You can see Matt Wright just gaining. He goes to the inside. And is that job done for the Alpine? Yes, it is. Through into the right-hander. And job done for Matt Wright as they go through the S's. Once again, McGowan got some pressure from Silv, but the leaders aren't really pulling away. They've still got Clouden and Skunky behind, and again O'Reilly and Hibbs just keeping in contact. It's just the gap between Tordock, Friedman and the rest of the pack as well just seems to be extending. There's a car off in the top end of the circuit. I'm not sure who that is. It is Aberdeen, and I don't even know where Aberdeen is. There he is. He's rolling down the hill. So I don't know if he's got damage or the wheel has just died or something like that. But he is off. And we go on board with Taylor now. And, has Vesely got damage? Yes, he has. So he's coming to the pits. We've got Taylor, Stardock and Smith going at it. Not a problem, Lexi. Sadly, obviously, with the retirement, you will carry a qualifying ban going into Silverstone, but yeah, that's such a shame for you. But Stardock gets the job done on Smith, and through he goes. Taylor now looking to go around the outside of Smith. Can't get the job done. And has to just tuck in behind once again. Just, I think, gaps are getting a little bit closer. They extend just so I go on board with them. Global just losing out to Wright here a little bit. So Wright pulling away. Oh, and up the inside goes Carlos and Archer. How Archer didn't end up in the wall, I do not know. And Carlos giving him a shove there. And he gains the position. And through the S's they go. Meanwhile, McGowan just dropping off the pace of Duffin at the minute. Still can't quite stick with the Mercedes. He's doing a fantastic job of trying to do so, but he can't quite stick with them at this stage. Skunky, meanwhile, still trying to pressurize Clouden at this moment, but can't seem to make the Chevy crack at the moment. And here we go, Carlos and Jackal. So Jackal, I think, may have had a mistake or something, because Jackal now has lost the position to Carlos, or Jackal's gained the... I'm not sure what's happened here. Or as Archer bounces over the curb. That's going to invite Hooper to go around the outside. And indeed it does, and Archer thinks better off fighting that one and decides to pull back into position. Silth, meanwhile, just dropping out possibly of that second window. and allowing the two Mercedes-Benz at the minute to pull away from Silth. Jamal Clouden all over the curve there. He's got Skunky breathing down his neck still. So the top 7 at the minute, all kind of stalemate at the moment, including down to Friedman. It is Goudet kind of on his own, Cummings on his own. It is then we got Wright separated from Millington. Then we got Carlos pulling away for Jackal, who put against Archer. That's pulled a gap kind of separated. But it's Smith versus Taylor, which is the closest fight on the track at the minute. So we'll stay on board this one. We're on board with Taylor. Smith has gone wide, and job done for him. He makes that position. And losing out is Smith. We go on board with Clouden. He's still got Skunky breathing down his neck, as does O'Reilly with his. And you can just see that the the Mercedes-Benz is just so mighty around this circuit. Oh, as you see there, Skunky just pushing a little bit too hard there and clips the wall. As your top 2 pull away from Silth now. Silth just dropping out of that second gap and possibly out of the slipstream, keeping him with that fight. Can now Jamal Clouden and Skunky catch him up? Well, the fight's going on at the minute as Carlos has dropped Jackal and is still on the back of Millington. And Jackal's still got Hooper and Archer behind him, but Carlos in the slipstream. Has slowly been working his way up the pack. Currently P13 and looking to make the move on Millington. But it ain't going to do it in the final corner. Oh, and here we go. Jamal Clouden and Skunky going side by side. And Skunky, is he going to be brave around the outside? And meanwhile, Hibbs is making the move as well. So both Mercedes on the move. Jamal Clouden loses out. Hibbs going to try and muscle his way around the outside, but he can't do it. And O'Reilly keeps the position. So it's one Mercedes passes, the other doesn't. And Friedman is in the pits with major damage to his car. So that is what's happened to him. But Hibbs there looking momentarily to make a move on O'Reilly, your championship leader. He's still outscoring Tordok at the minute. As once again the top 2's gap has come down by 0.8 of a second as Duffin goes against McGowan. We'll see how they go on a little bit later on. They're not quite close enough. Can Skunky now drop Clouden and get onto the back of Silv? That's his next target, as Hibbs is onto the back of O'Reilly. So Carlos still trying to pressurise Millington, as Jackal has still got Hooper trying to give him some hard time. In the pit still is Friedman. He's going to have to come out if he doesn't want a qualifying ban for Silverstone. The pit window has now opened. This could be a great opportunity for Carlos. In the slipstream he goes against the Aston Martin. And they head down now towards the chase. Does anyone opt into pit at this stage? The Porsche not able to catch the Aston here, as Duffin, McGowan and still all choose to continue on through. Skunky followed by Clouden, O'Reilly and Hibbs. So here O'Reilly's actually now started to catch Clouden a little bit, with Tordok slowly working his way onto the back of the group ahead. As Goudet opts to pit, Cummings comes around through, does right, Millington, Carlos, Jackal pits, Hooper now carries on through, as does Archer, and then we've got Stardog in 17th, Taylor in 18th, opting to pit. Well, Smith comes in, stays out in 19th. Ramsell in 20th, tipping 21st, with Klarball with damage to his car as he's managed to try and get it back as best he can. Vesely did have damage, with Friedman still in the pit lane. Fernie come back out in 25th, with Aberdeen in 26th and Marsden in last place position. But at the minute, Duffin got this race under control. Sylph again, not just able to go with these guys. Jamal Clouden now starting to come under pressure from O'Reilly. As the two greasy bandits drivers trying to score as much points as possible, as Hibbs looking very good at this minute, trying to catch the McLaren. Maybe a struggling Chevy might be able to help him out a little bit. And Carlos still can't find a way through on Millington at this moment in time. Really started to get hindered by that Aston Martin. Gets right onto the back of him as he thinks to go up the inside, down the S's. That's a brave move to do it, and he is not far enough alongside. You really do need to have much superior performance down there. And once again, down the back straight we go, and it's going to be a bit of stalemate. Three very powerful cars. Oh, and Carlos looks to the inside of Forest Elbow, but he can't get the job done there. So he's going to have to try somewhere else once again. Duffin, though, continues on through McGowan again, just brings that gap down. Sylph just within 2 seconds, Skunky ahead of this lot as well. As O'Reilly now pits, that's going to free Hibbs. Oh, as we see there, Millington clobber the inside curb. The GT3s will not like that inside curb whatsoever, so we'll see what these two do, and Millington chooses to stay out, and as does Carlos. Possibly your closest fight on track at the minute. Or a little bit too much curb there for Millington, but Carlos didn't get the drive he wanted. With O'Reilly in the pits now, and Clouden possibly holding up Hibbs now. We see there Hibbs starting to get onto the back of Clouden, so yeah, there's a little bit of holding up possibly by the Chevy. O'Reilly's going to get clean air, hopefully. Oh, there goes Millington, he makes a mistake, and around the outside goes Carlos. Is he braver? Yes, he is, and Millington loses out, so he finally gets that job done. Already Hibbs has been 6/10 of Jamal Clouden, just showing that Hibbs and that Mercedes-Benz in general just feeling more strong and confident around here. The Mercedes very stable, very fast, and allowing it to just hunt down the Chevy. McGowan did get within 1.2 of Duffin, but that's dropped, and he's dropped into the clutches of Sylph once again. So come up to the timetables. There's going to be Duffin crossing it now, with McGowan now 1.9, and in possible attack from Sylph behind. So Millington losing time to Carlos now, as Carlos has pulled away. As we now got Ramsell versus Smith as they come down towards the S's. And down the S's they go. Smith looking to try and get a good traction, good exit to get down the chase, so Ramsell can't attack him. Jamal Clouden has pitted to react to O'Reilly. So this should be interesting to see where those guys feed in and all that. Tordock is now pitted also, and I believe he's actually lost time. So yeah, I think he's got a little bit, no, he's got no damage. So he's just lost a little bit of time, I think. But we go back to Ramsell. Oh, a big contact with Ramsell and Smith. And they've taken the boards out as well, so this should be interesting, as guys will not have the boards for braking. And the next car is going to be O'Reilly to come to the boards. So he's going to get a shot because they're not there. But he manages to get a stop and turned in. But Duffin still leads though. He's got traffic ahead as Aberdeen gets out of the way. He's then got Marsden just ahead of him. So McGowan now, this could be prime opportunity here to try and clear some cars and try and get onto the back of Duffin. But he's caught this Ginetta at the worst point. Duffin himself has got a Ginetta in the way. So both of these two just going to be struggling with traffic. And Sylph now creeps onto the back of him also. These two Ginettas. now getting out of the way of the leaders. And what gap does that bring down? 1 second between Duffin and McGowan, and 1.1 for Silth. Oh, McGowan's trying to clear the Ginetta as best he can and goes deep now into the chicane. So as those guys are trying to clear one another, McGowan gets all caught up. And is Duffin going to pit? No, he's not. McGowan stays out as well. So does Silth. So Silth clears the Ginettas, and I think they're actually fighting for position. No, they're not. So Aberdeen is that far down. He's actually ended up hindering them a little bit. But Silth now onto the rear wing of McGowan has given Duffin a break. So that's that pit stop. That little moment has allowed them just to spread out a little bit. Skunky bringing the gap down. Meanwhile, Clouden has stayed ahead of O'Reilly and gained a bit of a gap. Tordog's 4.4 behind. As we've got Stardog onto the back. Stardog ahead of Jackal. Over the crest, there you go. Ramsell comes back out on track. As Smith gets out of the way of the leaders. Up the hill we go. And down the back straight also, they're looking to try and gain any momentum they possibly can on one another. Silth, this is where the Ginetta would be at its strongest now. They've got more lap traffic as Smith in the way. These guys are not pitted, so they're kind of out of sync at the minute. If they probably pitted, they'd get back into sync and they would not have the worry, but they have to pit this lap. So it's going to be who's got the best stop. Smith trying to stay out of the way. He's gone deep. Is he going to avoid making contact? Yes, he is. So brilliantly done there, Smith. Stays out of the way. But Silth, again, straight line advantage goes the way of the Mercedes-Benz, and they can't do nothing about it. Duffy, meanwhile, 2.7 was the gap. It is now 2.1, so he actually lost 6/10 there, even though he had the clean air. And these guys are clearing traffic. He actually lost time. So your top six now have to pit. Hibbs, meanwhile, has been slowly cashing onto the back of Skunky at this rate. Carlos opting to stay out as well, so he's wanting to use that clean air as best he possibly can. As Duffin, McGowan, Silth all come in. Skunky is also going to have to come in. Yes, he is, as will Hibbs and Carlos also. So Clouden, meanwhile, is your leading pit car. And everyone else is kind of spread out at the minute. 18 minutes left to go of this race. O'Reilly at the minute can't seem to get onto the back of that Camaro. I believe that is Marston in the chat. Sorry, not my day today. I prefer to sit in the pit and calm down rather become mad, which makes sense. Makes sense. Don't want to get angry and cause any contact or damages to other cars. Oh, sorry, that is Friedman's. So Friedman, that is Friedman in the chat saying he wants to rather stay in the pits and stay calm. So allow himself to cool off. Meanwhile, Duffin has gone green and built the gap on McGowan. But so to me, Silth meanwhile has been jumped by Skunky, and Hibbs is right there as well. So has Silth changed tyres then? And that is going to be very interesting. Meanwhile, Hibbs has jumped Clouden and O'Reilly by quite a gap. I think 5 seconds. So this is where we could possibly see tyre changes and all not being applied. So we'll see if they've looked after those tyres. McGowan, no. With no Silth behind him now, he's got Skunky behind him. Can he try and hunt down Duffin? But Duffin's 6.9. I think Duffin has opted not to change tyres, while McGowan has. So McGowan has got 16 minutes to bring that gap down. The temperature has gone up to 3.9. The Sylph, meanwhile, is back on the rear wing of Skonky pretty much instantly. Oh, Skonky's gone deep. Oh, and Hipsies is coming. Contact made there. And Skonky going all out, all kinds of pear-shaped there, losing out. And Hibbs now on the move. So where Jamal Cowden looked. Oh, and Hibbs just clips the wall ever so slightly. Where, yeah, I was going to say, well, Jamal Cowden looking quite confident earlier. Meanwhile, Carlos is in the middle of a fight with Cummings and Goudet. Archer is also close to the back of Stardog. Then we've got Jackal versus Taylor. We'll stay on board with these two. These two are quite close. Jackal goes a little bit wide. Taylor looks to possibly make a move, but he's not quite close enough. Meanwhile, Carlos out at the final hairpin, heading down the hill. And Archer with the better exit there. Goudet, with the better exit out of Forest Elbow is attacking Carlos up the inside. He goes. Keeps it pinned. Yes, he does. Carlos has to go a long way around. He's nearly onto the grass and just about gets it stopped. And Goudet gets the position. Job done. Meanwhile, just behind them is Matt Wright in the other Alpine. And job done for those guys. Meanwhile, can Hibbs do anything about Sylph? Sylph, meanwhile, trying to pull away. He's in that Ginetta. He's going to struggle on the straights, but it's going to be mighty in the corners. And that's where we want to see how good it really is. And there, coming out of the pits, is Fernie. And they all get into his slipstream. He's trying to stay out of the way. As they head up towards the hill. Meanwhile, Wright is now attacking Carlos there. Is Wright going to try and go around the outside of turn 2? No, he is not. He's not far enough alongside. As they all head up the hill once again. A little bit of a slide, a little bit of a twitch with some of these guys. But they'll keep it clean and composed. Meanwhile, Taylor has now passed Jackal. So that position gained for him. But your leaders, meanwhile, Duffin crosses the split. 6.4 was the gap between him and McGowan. And it's still 6.2 at the minute. So at the moment, those fresh tyres that McGowan has possibly put on is not doing the trick. Duffin is able to keep him at bay. 13 minutes is what's left. And Sylph has pulled away from Hibbs. And Skunky's not able to go with him. If anything, Clouden is dragging O'Reilly onto the back of Skunky with him as well. He has indeed. Wright looked very good. Meanwhile, Goudet is in the slipstream of the Alpine, and that Chevy Camaro out dragging the Alpine now. We'll go on board with Carlos. He's probably got the best seat for this, and Goudet gets the job done. But the Alpine will be better on the brakes. Oh, the one that was best on the brakes was Carlos. And off goes the Alpine of Cummings. He goes off into the gravel. And Hooper just now coming up behind him. Not been the MSA boys' night. They've all been struggling. It's been Sylph who's really been looking the competitive one. And he's probably in the slowest car of them all. So, yeah, Sylph in the more powered down Ginetta seems to be the better MSA driver at the minute. Wright, meanwhile, is on to the back of Carlos. Carlos goes defensive. Wright going to go around the outside of turn 2. He's going to try and have a look. He's going to have a sniffing opportunity. Carlos runs him wide, and Carlos ends up in the wall. Ends up sliding all over the shot. Is Wright going to do the move that Carlos has been doing to everyone else? No, he is not. Carlos gets it turned in, and Wright backs off and tries to get back into a groove. Gap now down to less than 6 seconds to the top 2. over the crest. There you go. Once again, Carlos looking a little bit ruggedy through there, trying to gain as much time as he possibly can. And another 4/10 has been taken out of Duffin's gap by McGowan there. And there is McGowan. 5.5 is the gap. And you can see Duffin just ahead of him. There's a car separating them at the minute. I believe it is a BMW. Yes, it is. That is Vesely. So 5.5 is the gap. It is now 5.4. So the straight's just a little bit equal at the minute. Clouden now within a second of Skunky. What's happened to Goudet? Goudet's made a mistake. He was ahead of Carlos and Wright, and he's ended up back behind them. So possibly a mistake at Forest Elbow, and Carlos has got back in front. So in the slipstream comes Goudet into the final corner. He comes. All right in the background with a big twitch and a big mistake from him. He loses time to the two in front. And into turn number one they go. Once again, McGowan and Duffin just matching one another at the minute. 5.5 is the... I don't think McGowan's got enough in him unless Duffin makes a mistake. But that's really what he's hoping for at the minute, as he's not able to see sight of the other car. Still kind of in no man's land as well. He's dropped Hibbs by quite a bit. Skunky is now starting to become more pressure from Clouden. O'Reilly with no one really around him either. And Tordok in no man's land. There's quite a big gap back to Carlos, Goudet and Wright. And Cummins is starting to be hunted down by Hooper. And up the mountain they go, towards Skyline they come. 5.1 is the gap. It's coming down, but I don't think it's coming down enough. As a lot of cars go straight on at Skyline there. Through the dipper they go. Sorry, they go through the S's down into the dipper. Now into Forest Elbow. And Wright just a little bit squirrely on the rear end there. Meanwhile, Clouden has now caught Skunky. Skunky going to try and do everything he possibly can to stay ahead of the Chevy Camaro. And now we go on board with the Mercedes-Benz. It's that middle sector where McGowan seems to find all that time on Duffin. Oh, Skunky a little bit wide out of turn one. And Clouden sniffs an opportunity. He senses prey is vulnerable. This is his opportunity. Turn number two. He's in the toe. He's going to hold it for as long as he can. He's alongside. And I think Skunky probably knows the fight is up. He's going to try and break Laker as dare as he can. He goes wide and outside he goes. And Jamal Clouden up a position. Skunky struggling at this stage. Just the Greasy Bandits duo up into the top five. 4.6 is the gap to McGowan. You could just about see him going over the horizon. Carlos, meanwhile, has now pulled away from Goudet. Wright is now giving Goudet a hard time. While the fight is there, there is Archer still trying to get past Taylor. Archer not quite close enough this time. Meanwhile, Skunky is not going to be able to go with Clouden, I don't think. Oh, Clouden goes a bit deep at Forest Elbow, but manages to collect it up. Right, meanwhile, back onto the rear wing of the Chevy of Goudet. You just hear them being patient. The front left wheel there coming up for John Goudet, 3.7 is now the gap between Duffin and McGowan. That's come down dramatically. That has Duffin now started to lose tyre grip. Meanwhile, Wright has got a great exit out of Forest Elbow. He's in the toe, but that Chevy Camaro, very fast in a straight line, but it's big and bulky, and that's going to punch a lovely hole in the air for the Alpine to come alongside. He does get alongside, and he tries to get the job done on the Chevy. Through the kink they go, and Goudet losing out to the Alpine driver of Matt Wright. Another position gain for him. Best in the chat saying that Wright did take new tyres, so Wright is looking good at the minute. Meanwhile, Duffin, 3.5 ahead of McGowan. Although that's looking a lot less. Yes, it is. It is 3 seconds. So McGowan can see him now. Silter just dropped off of these guys. No pace. As soon as the slipstream disappeared, he was not able to go with them. Meanwhile, Clouden hasn't dropped Skunky. Skunky's still there as Krabel in the background wallops the wall quite hard. He gives it a good wallop. Hooper did look like he was coming on the attack of Cummins, but that's soon ended. But you see the Chevy, just even though it's in the slipstream of Wright, he's still carrying some form of drag due to the fact that that Chevy is so massive, he struggles to punch a hole in the air. So over the crest they go. And they're trying their very, very best to try and hunt them down as best they possibly can. And once again, I said that gap was coming down. It is 2.3 is now the gap between the top two. McGowan is on a charge, and Skunky got within less than a tenth of Clouden, so they were side by side at one point, but Skunky's damage is possibly hurting him that much. And now the fights are starting to happen. Duffin and McGowan are not done here. Possibly 2 more laps to go. It is Duffin versus McGowan, and Duffin doing everything he can, possibly wishing he took those tyres. He probably would have been able to pull away. Meanwhile, Torok, being quietly minding his own business, is now onto the back of Skunky. O'Reilly has got back past the pair of them. So what has happened there? So O'Reilly has got back ahead of Clouden, Skunky, well, he was already ahead of Torok, but he's ahead of Clouden and Skunky, so possibly those two having a coming together. We'll have to see later on what that was all about. Meanwhile, Millington is on to the back of Stardog. Oh, and here we go. Jackal's going to go around the outside of Archer, and he gets the job done, and Archer loses that position. A brilliant move there from the Jackal. Tora now onto the rear wing of Skunky. Oh, Skunky sliding a lot there. Back end of the car, not happy whatsoever as Duffin heads out of Forest Elbow. And here comes McGowan. The gap is 2 seconds. What is it going to be? Duffin comes up to the split now. And through goes McGowan. 1.6. Another 410s taken out of him. He is coming for Duffin. Meanwhile, Torok is on to the back of Skunky. Skunky trying to pull away as best he can. But he's not going to do so at this minute. Torok in the toe, in the slipstream. The Porsche's not a slouch in the straight line. And there it comes. Down the straight they go. Into the kink they go. And Skunky losing out there. 1.5 is the gap. Duffin's only got 1 lap to survive. But McGowan has been looking very, very strong here. Millington losing out there and Jackal pulling away. So really now the fight is between the top two? Or is Duffin playing it safe? You never want to play it safe. If you play it safe, you get out of a rhythm and you lose the flow. Once you lose the flow, then you make silly errors and silly mistakes. So Duffin now starting to be chased down by McGowan. 1 second, McGowan is there. He's there or thereabouts. Skunky trying to come back at a Tall Dog, but I don't think it's going to happen. And Jackal and Archer are still going at it. Archer has to hit the brakes and slow down there, so he didn't come to contact with the McLaren of Jackal. But top of Skyline we go. McGowan trying to hunt Duffin down right to the very end, and he gets really close now. He's close as he's ever been. He needs to nail Forest Elbow. This is the most important corner now. Who's going to get it right? Duffin goes a bit deep, he understeers, but they get a good exit, but McGowan's clipped the wall. And I think, all said and done, I think Duffin might hang on with McGowan clobbering the wall. McGowan is in the slipstream. It is 7/10 now. Unless he tries to send it in the final corner, he's not close enough. An hour-long race, we probably would have seen McGowan possibly take the win here, but he's on the rear wing of Duffin. The two Mercedes drivers have looked absolutely mighty in this feature race, but Duffin, not quite a Grand Slam, but he makes it 2 from 2. He wins the sprint and the feature here. Duffin wins ahead of McGowan in second place. Silth is going to come home for that third place position, rounding off the top three. A good job from him. Hibbs is going to finish in fourth place. And through the S as he goes, Hibbs crosses the line for fourth. A good job from him. O'Reilly, oh, a big slide there from O'Reilly. He's going to finish in fifth ahead of Clouden in sixth. Tordock in the end, seventh. Still good points for himself. Skunky in eighth. A better drive for him, even though his car is in a little bit of pieces. Carlos is going to finish in that ninth place position. And the GT4s have been absolutely amazing tonight. Carlos crossing the line now in that ninth position, ahead of Wright, ahead of Goudet. Cummings is now coming out of the final corner. He's going to make it P12. Hooper in the end dropping to 13th place. Stardog in 14th place position. And crossing the line now with Millington now in 15th place position. Taylor is going to finish in 16th. Archer and Jackal's fight has now ended, and it has gone the way of the Jackal. He wins that fight between himself and Archer. They come to the end here. Oh, I'm not sure who that is. That looks like a Ginetta. So Jackal finishes in that 17th place. Benny finishes in 18th. Smith in 19th. Tipping in 20th. Vesley in 21st. Fernie in 22nd. Ramsell 23rd. Clarble 24th. Aberdeen in 25th. Marsden in 26th. And Friedman finishing in that last place position. But all those guys at the end of the night. But it went the way of Duffin ahead of McGowan, and Silth is your top three. Again, I still don't understand how to get a decent sound from the Discord, so we'll just stick with a chat with Matt. But yeah, a great night's worth of racing nonetheless. It has definitely shook up the championship. Mercedes were easily outright the most dominant car. Guys in the chat, I haven't got time to put a poll up, but get your votes in on driver of the day. Whoever you think is driver of the day, please put it in the votes. I'm going to have to go the way of Duffin tonight. He's just been absolutely dominant and on top form. And I don't think anyone was... Only McGowan, I think, was really a threat to him tonight. But you could see the weight was really hurting a lot of the cars here tonight. And yeah, I believe we will have the tables up in a few moments' time. But make sure you guys tune in next week as we are live at Silverstone for the next race of the season. Home of the British Motorsports and it's been a while since we've been at Silverstone. I think it was back in season, what are we now? Season 7, 6. I think it was season 4 was the last time we were back at Silverstone, when I had that magical moment of going around the outside and dropping it all on my own. Yeah. Friedman has sent me something here. I'll have to have a look at that in a bit. But nonetheless, hopefully the table should be up to date in a few moments' time. So, guys, let's see you in the chat. I know Chris in the chat saying, well done to Matt, well timed as well. And a lot of chat going on in the Discord as well. GT4 drivers, if you are still listening to the stream, tickets are now open so that you can put in your incidences and the stewards will then look at them. Reminder as well that you are open for 24 hours. And we'll... I'm not sure what... Wright and Goulet are on about probably the fight, and yes, I did, very much so. But it's been an awesome night's worth of racing. Silverstone next tomorrow night. It is not me in the commentary box, thank God. You'll be hearing from Lexi in the commentary box tomorrow night, and she'll be bringing you all the action here at Bathurst Mount Panorama for the Pro-Ams, and that's going to be an intense night worth of racing. And once again, be prepared to see a lot of black and pink here this week, as just a reminder as well, we're making respects to one of our fallen comrades of Aaron Myers, who sadly passed away recently. And again, it brought a tear to my eye seeing all the cars going around together wearing the black and pink is absolutely beautiful to see. And yeah, this night and Bathurst, this whole week is going to be dedicated to him and his family. And a massive thank you to all the drivers as well for being a part of it, and be prepared for more of it for Pro-Am and Pro. For the Pro as well, make sure you tune in, because Matthew Duffin and Kelly Davis, Sweet and Sticky in your box, will be bringing you all the action as well. By the sounds then, Matt has unmuted himself, and I think he is ready to be interviewed.
Yeah, tables are done for you, buddy.
Tables are done, but let's first things first talk about Bathurst Mount Panorama. Now, what is it that you always tell me? Matt, I hate British circuits. I think they're terrible. I think they're the worst circuit in the world, but yet I am really good at those circuits.
Yeah.
How's Bathurst in your books?
Terrible. Shocking. That's a poor circuit. Now, look, tonight wasn't about the circuit, tonight wasn't about everything. It was just great to see you again. Once again, I think you've mentioned it, tipped on it, such a great community coming together for a night. But Bathurst was good. It was hard at the end, very, very hard at the end. But yeah, did McGowan give me a tough ride there.
He did indeed. Obviously, what was very clear to see was this Mercedes-Benz is absolutely mighty around this circuit. Not just obviously yourself. Obviously, you can sit there and go, yep, I was best Mercedes driver. But at the same time, you had McGowan, you had Hibbs, you had Skunky, you had every Mercedes driver in the top 6 pretty much. Every race, every session. How good was it? Was it just that stable up the hill and mountain?
It was just everything. Its power out the corner. The only thing that it lacked on was to O'Reilly's McLaren. And that's it, in a straight line. But it was just up the hill, down the hill, everything. It may as well have been a scale electric car tonight, because it was just hooked up. And if you had the setup right, and you saw there Skunky, McGowan, myself, Hibbs, a lot of Mercedes drivers up there tonight, and that proves, or that shows how dominant this car was. It wasn't one driver; it was just the car was so good.
Obviously, you've got to take your hat off to Silth as well, though. The man in the little Ginetta gave it a really good go. He was stuck. Mate. He was sticking with you and McGowan.
I remember back race 1. I drove past a Ginetta with 19 seconds of damage, like he was in reverse. So for Silf to get P3, man, that is a heck of a result for him, and he can hold his head high after tonight. But cracking result for the Ginetta. It's a lovely little car. He's drive the Ginetta, but Yeah, well done.
He has said in the chat that he loves the Ginetta, but a particular F word that he has used, but that sixth gear ratio, he needed a seventh gear because he was just banging the limiter. Obviously, Matt, it has been a long time since you've actually won a race. I mean, we're now into race or round 4 of the season, round 8 or race 8, let's say. 6 races have not even been on the. I'm looking at your results. You've not even been on the podium at all this season until we've come to the one circuit that you despise and don't want to be racing at. But nonetheless, it just shows how difficult this GT4 class is again.
It's incredibly tough. You know the struggles I've gone through this year. Obviously, we turned the racing line off. Turns out I used it more than what I realised I did. So I'm kind of relearning again. Brands Hatch track now I knew very well. Went well, but Tardot, Friedman, Clouden, O'Reilly, McGowan, Skunky, everybody at the front, they were all tough to beat, so that was hard. Spa, poor first race, had to miss the second race, partner was in hospital. Indianapolis, we'd literally come home from hospital 5 hours before with our newborn baby. Didn't even turn a wheel until that afternoon, so Indianapolis was kind of a write-off, but I made sure I got the time in here. I made sure I worked hard for this one.
Obviously, next round of the season is Silverstone. I think you're going to be carrying ballast, but very little. Also, I forgot to mention that you've had no ballast this season. How's that nice been for you?
Strange. Hey, 40 kilograms all last season to nothing now. It's weird. But yeah, Silverstone, I'm going to carry a bit of ballast if the championship stays as it is. And we'll see what we can do at Silverstone. we didn't have Silverstone on the calendar last year, so we'll get some testing done. We'll see what it's like. But yeah, we'll see. Look, I'm sure that Tordok and Friedman and Silf and Hooper, O'Reilly are all going to come back at Silverstone and are all going to be tough to beat again. So yeah.
Well, nonetheless, mate, congratulations on the win. I've obviously given you driver of the day as well. 2 wins to your name. I'm going to make sure that this haunts you for the rest of your life, that now you're really good at Bathurst Mount Panorama. I still think I got a little bit of an edge of you around here, but nonetheless, mate, congratulations on the double win. Cheers. Not quite the Grand Slam, just 2 fastest laps you missed out on, but nonetheless, a win in the sprint, a pole position, and the win as well. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. Can I just say as well that rest in peace, you, Darren, aka Aaron Myers. You'll be missed, man. We had some good fights last season, and these 2 wins, not only for my newborn son, Ayrton, but they're for you as well, buddy. Rest in peace, and we'll miss you, bud.
Very good words there. And again, I just want to continue on saying how amazing this community is. We've all come together to celebrate the life of a driver or a person that we don't know personally, we've not got to know personally, but nonetheless, he is one of us. He has been one of us since he's been joining Simply Motorsport, and he will live on in this channel as well. So again, our thoughts go out to his family, his friends, and all the guys that do support him in the channel, the likes of Andy, Tipping, and all those guys as well. And you'll be seeing the black and pink for the rest of the week. So congratulations to Matt, though, on the win. We shall see you tomorrow night as the Pro-Ams will be hitting the circuit, and it will be Lexi bringing you all the action tomorrow night. I get a night off. So make sure you tune in for that one as well. And make sure you also tune in Thursday night, as we will have the final race of the week at Bathurst. We then head to the Pro Class, and then we head to the home of British Motorsport. I've been Dan Davis. This has been Simply Motorsport. Good night.